Yo, 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 what's good, everybody? It's your boy JT, opposite from the norm. Before I get started, make sure y'all like, share, comment, and subscribe. All right, so since we keep seeing everything with Cube trying to do with the contract with Black America, I wanted to just kind of go through it a little bit. The link is in the description box, so that way if y'all want to go ahead and check it out, you can go ahead and check it out if you want to, you know what I'm saying? Because I was feeling like I didn't know what it was talking about necessarily. He talked about it. I just didn't look through it or really watch the whole video. So let's go through it a little bit and let's see what it's talking about. I'm gonna go through it a little bit. Like I said, you can go ahead and read the whole thing from the link in the description box. All right. So this is starting out. It says this contract with Black America strikes at the heart of racism and presents a blueprint to achieve racial economic justice. It was written in the backdrop of the killing of George Floyd, which set a wave of protests not seen since the civil rights era of the 1950s and 60s, and a global pandemic in which the black mortality rate is more than double the white rate, and which 45%, nearly half of black-owned businesses are closed. That the impact of something presumably uh, random, such as a pandemic, however catastrophic, can be so linked to one's racial identity is highly problematic, and further evidence that, as a nation, we are failing miserably. This links to a larger political and economic vulnerability, whether we are in a pandemic or not. The immoral devaluation of black lives has been ingrained in America's political economy and is long overdue for a reckoning. That's how it starts out. Let me go through some things because at first I didn't. I was looking at them like they're not really saying anything. So, but then I went through it. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Where is Black Opportunity and Representation? The case of Neo-Reconstruction. Neo-Reconstruction is an aggressive initiative meant to redress past wrongs systematically imposed on Black Americans economically throughout many generations. Wrongs that have had a severe negative, sorry about that, a severe negative impact on African Americans, both economically and educationally. The specific case and plan for neo-reconstruction is presented later in the document. A commission will immediately be formed and empowered to quickly put the plan into action. Separately, a plan will also be devised to make Native Americans whole within the same timeline. Black Americans will be compensated for the value of work contributed by their ancestors, while Native Americans will get back the true value or land promised to them in various treaties. Wow. For Black Americans to be eligible, they must provide documentation proving their descent from at least one enslaved person. They must also prove they have identified as Black or African American for the last 10 years prior to the institution of the reparations program. Affirmative action for all secondary schools, colleges, and universities, public and private. Black enrollment must meet or exceed the percentage of the Black population nationwide, 13.4%. In addition, if the Black population in the county the school is located in is greater than 13.4, the enrollment must be increased to that higher percentage. However, 25% Black enrollment will satisfy the county requirement if the school can prove they are a national school with less than 30% enrollment from the state and in which the school is located. All right. So, lending reform. Let's go to that real quick. While capitalism is a good system, it requires capital to participate. For decades, Black and Jewish people in neighborhoods considered hazardous were entirely or largely denied loans through the unscrupulous banking practice known as redlining. While redlining was made illegal in '68 with passage of the Fair Housing Act, and then again with the 1977 Community Reinvestment Act, CRA. Statistics show the perpetuation of de facto redlining in many of the same communities, most notably Black communities, still exist. Studies consistently show Blacks are denied access to lending in roughly the same percentage as before the Act's passage. The result is white families have nearly 10 times the net worth of Black families today. As an example, even when nearly it is, even even when Black families get home mortgages, nearly 20% pay on average 1.5 points above the average offered to whites. And although the Black population is roughly 13.4 of the nation, approximately only 3% of loans and credit are given to Black people, whether for credit cards, home mortgages, or Black-owned businesses. In addition, only 1% of banks are black owned or led. I don't know if it's even 1% black owned. Maybe led, but not black owned. Judicial reform. And mind y'all, once again, this is today's talk for PoliTalk. Okay, judicial and public reform recognize racism as a public health crisis that mandates a federal response. Ban all privately run prisons. Fines established to be paid by companies that profited of the private prison system. Prisoner labor not allowed without consent. Prisoners to be compensated at the minimum wage and hazardous pay provided for applicable duties. Declare the Ku Klux Klan a terrorist organization. Lynching to become a federal hate crime with a recommended federal sentence of life. Free nonviolent offenders incarcerated for 10 years or longer who have less than 5 verifiable write-ups. Write-ups can be challenged and given due process. Free all prisoners for marijuana possession. Eliminate laws establishing mandatory minimums. Eliminate three strikes laws. First offense for illegal drug use or possession to require government payment for entry into an approved drug rehabilitation program that imprisonment. Let me say this to all of that stuff I just read. Okay. I like how it sounds, but I'm gonna tell y'all what the problem is. And I'm gonna start with getting rid of. I mean, just freeing people when it comes to them being. Oh no, my bad. When they say get rid of private prison systems, industrialized prison systems. Okay, the problem with that is it's a lot of people that's invested into that, and they're not just gonna be able to get rid of private prison systems. You know what I'm saying? It helps and saves money for the government because the private prison systems are self-contained, meaning, they take care of all of that. The companies and organizations or whatever abroad takes care of that, and the government doesn't have to fund that and take care of, like, federal prisons. And I like what they're saying on a lot of these things, but there's no breakdown of how there's compensation for doing those certain things. We can say black people are going to bring more money in, more opportunities and things of that nature, but what we have to realize when it comes to education and things like that, we have to invest more into our educations on political movements and economic movements. Okay, with economic movements, it will help, God willing, to progress us into a direction to where we have more ownership, but we have to get the education and knowledge on how to do so. So to think that they can just say, just get rid of it, it's not going to work like that. I'm just saying, just keeping it real, not to just downplay it, but I'm being honest. When you have situations like that that are not only economics connected and people with power and influence, but you also have government influence on it, right? Now, the problem with that, you would think the government can say, hey, we're just going to ban it and get rid of it. It don't work that way. Because they're going to be able to say, take it from that political stance and make it where you're going to make a lot of people lose jobs. A lot of CEOs, a lot of people that work there, like, they're going to lose jobs. Because you have certain towns, like, say, like a Dannemora, all right? That's where Tupac got arrested, so he used to be locked up, you know what I'm saying, for the alleged rape charge, which was bullshit, we all know. But that feeds that whole town. Like, he says that in a Vibe interview. Not Vibe, I'm sorry, but it was an interview, like the prison lost tape interviews. You can look that up on YouTube. He says that in Dannemora, it feeds that whole population there. I don't know if it's still like that now, because that was roughly 25 years ago, I want to say, because it was 95 he was there and he got released. So he did like 9, 10, 11 months or something like that, 9, 10 months in there. So, but it feeds that population, that town. If you have situations like that, and then they fight and say, oh, you're trying to take jobs away from people and blase, squaze, it helps the economy and all that. This is what you got to understand. If they was able to have a vote for that, a lot of people in this country, not just white, will vote against it. Because I've seen it. Like when Pop, Snoop, and Suge and all them was trying to do that vote thing out there in Cali back in '96, where it was a civil rights act that they was voting for, people in California voted against it. And it was about discriminations. Even though a lot of white people probably voted for it, it's a lot of other people that got money that voted against it too, even though what you're seeing, like if you look at Donald Sterling that used to own the Clippers, if you look at Trump, all these people that had these civil action lawsuits that came against them, what you got to realize is a lot of people, or they should have realized, a lot of those people, no matter how much money you got, they still was discriminating against you. So when people say, oh, it don't matter your color as long as you got green, that's not always true. You got some people that's so elitist that's like, oh, they ain't gonna want black people, they ain't gonna want Hispanic people in here, they ain't gonna want Asian people in here. You know what I'm saying? They, like, if you Irish, Italian, that's fine because you still considered white. They don't worry about it. For some rich white elites, the only white people they accept is like that because it's exotic to them. They're not necessarily, you know what I'm saying, which is ignorant. But they voted against it. So if you think that's going to be something like that they can just do away with, it has to turn into a law and a bill, and it has to process through Senate and House, and the president has to sign it, which I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think Joe Biden would have a problem with signing something like that. To be honest with you, I don't think he would. But it's not going to make it to him because a lot of conservatives are going to ban it, and a lot of Democrats will too because you have conservative Democrats. So I like the idea, but the problem is you have to realize what you're going to give and take from that, because it's a scratch my back, I scratch your back type of situation on a lot of these things that they're talking about. I didn't even get to it, but they also talk about having the opportunity to be able to bid for jobs, like, you know, government jobs and stuff. Which, if you know some people, you can do that, because I do my t-shirt line, and I'm working in progression to get certain type of equipment to do certain type of jobs. So I know a brother that I've known for years who's like a big brother to me that works for the city here in St. Petersburg. It's like, yo, whenever you get this equipment to make these type of shirts, God willing, let me know. I can get you some city contract jobs. You feel what I'm saying? But I got to make something in place. So if somebody say, you know, Jay, don't procrastinate, JTL, you're right. I'm hearing you on that. But you want to make sure you do the job correctly. But the problem is certain jobs, if you don't have those networking capabilities and know somebody on the inside, it may not matter. So we're still talking about Civil Rights Act and all that, give them the opportunity to be a part of it. But I feel, me personally, we should be building these things in our own community instead of always running to them. Like, we're not together enough for you to think that you're going to come in a small black-owned construction company or carpenter or electrician company that don't have no money and muscle behind it and influence. It's not going to be able to come in and take over a Trump's construction type company. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's worth too much money. It got too much skin in the game for all these years, for decades. You're not going to come in as a small black company and take Trump's construction jobs from the government. That's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? We should just be worried about building our own. So I'm not hating on Q for trying. God bless him. But what we got to realize is, what can you do for me? That's what it is. So we got to get the numbers together and get our people together and be on more one accord. People just getting mad at Cube and saying he's stupid or a sellout for trying to talk to Trump. He said it himself. He tried to talk to the Democrats as well. My thing is, we should have been talking to other independent parties. That's what I don't like about Bush Watkins. I see him keep crying all the time. I ain't subscribed to his channel no more. But on my Twitter, I am. And I need to unsubscribe or unfollow him on Twitter because it's getting on my nerves. You just keep crying. All you should be talking about is economics, wealth, numbers, and what we can build. So then when we get ready to go do things, we'll be ready. But right now, we are not ready. If we go ahead and try to get things together and it falls apart, whose fault is that going to be? We got to get more things together in order for that to work. The numbers matter when it comes to that. I talked on one show about black packs and things that we can do. That's what we need to focus on. But if y'all want to go ahead and go through this contract with Black America, go ahead. I got the link in the description. Y'all can check it out more. This has been JTL for Wednesday's PoliTalk. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we'll definitely be at you with another one. Get back at you. Chill.